Gemini, I'm here to give you the Supermoon series wild card read straight from the hip with lots of lip. And we're actually bringing in your Supermoon read on the day of the Aquarius Supermoon. I think this is an important lunar cycle for you. You and Taurus both received your Supermoon reads today. So I figure it's probably an important time for both of you for it to land like that. I think there's something significant that comes through for you. We did have air sign energy come up in Taurus's read, so you could possibly be dealing with a Taurus. If so, you might want to drop in for their read and just kind of feel out what was happening on that end. 111 on the clock when I said that. There might be some point of alignment or some message that came in there for you too, okay? I feel in some way you all are sharing this energy, all right? This is an energy signature with what came in today. So we're going to just drop in and see how this full moon is going to be influencing you, how it's going to lead you into this next lunar cycle, and what's coming in for you, all right? We're just going to dive right into it. We're not going to waste any time. You're choosing to pull up stakes. You are not going to invest in something any longer. You just feel like there's no growth there. There's no moving forward there. You don't see the point in it. All right, let's check this out. Let's see what you're pulling up stakes on, Gemini. What are you choosing to no longer invest in, Gemini? Where are you saying enough is enough, okay? It feels like you've sat here long enough investing in this. You haven't seen the growth that you were expecting or that was promised, and so you're just no longer wanting to deal with this. You're wanting to cut the cord and you're wanting to move on, okay? What does this have to do with? It has to do with some kind of separation. I feel like you very much have been in a period of trying to decide, do I move forward with this or not? We got Empress energy here very strongly. That is Taurus energy. So just for that to be brought in, you might want to check out that Taurus read. You could be dealing with a Taurus. You could feel like this person thinks that they're an Empress, but they don't really represent themselves in that way. All right. You could feel like they're a bit of an Empress in reverse. This could also be that somebody is maybe, kind of coming from a more spoiled standpoint, like they just feel that things should be handed to them, that they shouldn't have to work for anything. They may have gotten used to receiving certain advantages, benefits from you, and it's just becoming a little of an ingratiating connection I got, okay? You feel like you do all the giving, all the investing in this situation. There's never a reciprocal flow. So there's something here where you feel maybe even a little bit taken advantage of. This could be somebody who is a little bit materialistic. So they're used to just kind of having things their way. They're used to having certain advantages without really having to work for them. That's what I got, okay? This person may be very attractive. They may be able to kind of work that angle a bit, you got a soft spot for them. But there's some kind of manipulation happening here and somebody is misrepresenting themselves. This could also be like a baby's mama, not acting quite right. This could also be related to an air sign energy in reverse. So this could represent Libra in reverse, okay? With this King of Swords coming in here. It is your energy as well, okay? So maybe this is also speaking of you just being in this position where you've been in the past with this person where you gave them a wide breadth, you gave them a lot of room for their fuck ups, but you're kind of tired of it. You see how this person sort of brings out the worst in you, I got, King of Swords in reverse, you might have even had some really harsh words that you exchanged with this person. There could have been a rift, a really severe rift in this situation with the Three of Swords in reverse. I think this was really painful. There's been a lot of hurt that's been caused here. With the Three of Swords in reverse, though, I feel like there might be some kind of like reconnection happening here. You might be revisiting old issues. You might be going over old ground. I do feel like you've been trying to figure things out. There's been a pause in this situation. There's been a break in this situation during that time. You've been getting a different view, a different perspective, but we see the Hangman is turned in a new direction now, okay? No longer upside down. It looks like you're pretty happy to be free of this thing is what you might be realizing. You might not want to move forward with this, okay? I see that there's a sense of freedom coming forward where you felt really stuck or hung up. You finally got them moving forward. This could be because there's some kind of transformation happening in this situation. We do know that what was stuck is becoming unstuck. Where you felt like there was no forward progress, you are moving forward. I want to find out about, you know, this situation here. Let's have a look at this Empress in reverse. Tell Gemini about this Empress in reverse. What does Gemini need to know about this Empress in reverse? Why is the Empress in reverse here? I also feel like, you know, this is kind of a feeling of like being cut off from the growth that you thought you would see from investing in a particular direction. You expected to see more out of it, and it sort of feels a little bit lackluster. You're wondering why, you know, why aren't you seeing more progress? Why aren't you seeing more fruition to things you've set in motion? Why has it felt like it's just been so slow or so stalled? Okay, you know, you might have thought of even cutting this off. This could be in something you've been trying to grow for yourself. It could be a creative project. You might feel like you want to head in a different direction creatively. You're feeling inspired in a different direction. Maybe you started working on a particular project, you had one vision for it, then you're like, you know what? I think I don't want to do things like this anymore. I think I want to think outside the box. I want to shake things up a little bit. I want to do something different. I don't need to like keep myself doing the same old thing just because that's what people have expected of me. I don't know why that's coming in. You might be wanting to do something really different, you know, and it sort of like shakes up your vision, your creative vision in the past. For those of you that are creative types, you know, you want to do something different. You're breaking with tradition. Yes, what you're doing might seem really innovative. It breaks with tradition. It disrupts, you know, what people have been used to seeing from you, you know. But you're really wanting to take this action. I think if that's the case, is if this has to relate to like a business project, I think you're doing something really bold. You know, whatever you're doing is really outside of the box. It's not the usual, okay? It might be the very thing you need to really be true to your own creative expression, though, and maybe that is the key to you achieving the success, you know, the fulfillment that you're looking for, that growth that you're looking for those of you who are investing in a creative direction, especially in terms of your career, okay? You might need this. You might need to be the rebel a bit. Shake it up. All right, we've got 9 of Wands here. Okay, so I feel like you're tired. I feel like you've been dealing with a lot, okay? You've been working really hard. You kind of felt like you've gone through a period where it's just been one thing after another coming at you, like one fire after another to put out. I think you're kind of just exhausted with it. This might have even at times gotten you like out of character where, you know, maybe you did become a little harsh with people in just cutting things off because you were just so tired of just dealing with putting out fires. You didn't want to deal with it anymore, you know. It like squeezed all the joy out of your life. Empress in reverse is not a happy energy. Some of you could be dealing with a baby's mama who's just been really difficult, like putting added demands on you. Some of you could have been dealing with like a prima donna kind of woman, you know. It's just all about what works for her, not really considering your feelings. It kind of like threw you in reverse, okay? Yeah, we got the Hermit here in reverse. So you've been like in hermit mode, like you've really been craving private time. But with the Hermit in reverse, it makes me feel like you're in this period where it's time for you to come out of hermit mode. Like you can't just continue to avoid things just because they're uncomfortable or because communications may have gotten heated or cutting or people were hurt in this situation. There is a need to bring balance in this situation. So there can be some kind of growth, some progression that comes out of this situation instead of just being in this place of like isolation, you know, feeling like you have to cut things off, right? There is some kind of victory assured here with the 6 of Wands. And like I was saying, you might have really been in this period of really kind of like blocking yourself off because you've been diving really deep with some kind of creative project. You've been in a creative process. Your creative process could have been directly informed by some kind of hardship you've been going through, especially emotionally. You may have found a lot of release and a lot of healing through just exploring your creative voice. And this could be in relation to some kind of heartache that you were moving through that you found really hard to put into words. But when you channeled it through your creativity, then you really found your voice creatively. You really found your expression creatively, and it awakened a new aspect to whatever you do creatively, okay? And I feel like you've been really keeping this to yourself. This may be some of your most intimate creative work. You know what I'm saying? 11:11 on the clock. Something's coming into alignment for you here. I feel like it's musing energy. You're coming into alignment with your muse. It's being activated for you. You may feel like a voice in the wilderness, you know? Something you're doing, it's very different and it feels exposing. That's what I got when it comes to your creativity. But it's informed by something you've healed. Like your creativity has also been part of your healing. So this might be some of your most vulnerable, most revealing work, and also your most powerful work. 11:44 on the clock. This is coming through for somebody, okay? I feel like you're just about at the point where you're ready to, you know, move out of isolation and you're ready to share this, okay? And it's going to bring you a lot of recognition, okay? A lot of visibility in your particular creative field. Like people are really going to recognize this about you. I also feel that there came a point for those of you who've been dealing with relationship challenges, which we have to look at this piece, or you've been dealing with some kind of trauma you've been trying to heal. With the King of Swords coming up in reverse, you could have been dealing with an air sign energy, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. You could have been dealing with, you know, a lot of arguments where the words were really cutting, really harsh. Some of you may have felt even like mentally manipulated, or you may have even, for those of you who've really been walking a fierce path of transformation, you may even recognize ways that you've been mentally manipulated, or where you were, you know, needing to get clearer with yourself to really understand the ways that you needed to learn how to communicate better what you were feeling, that sometimes you withheld communication and that wasn't the best thing because then, you know, little jabs came out, you know, and it felt like mind games to the person on the other side of the table. I feel like it could really work both ways in your situation. It's coming through very strongly with the masculine. So if you were dealing with a masculine, a father figure, a lover, you know, this person is very cold. This person has very cutting words. Like when they speak their truth, they speak it so bluntly, it hurts. You know, it hurts. There's no compassion. There's no holding back. And at times you may have really felt like your sense of self-worth challenged in this regard. This may have been what put you in hermit mode. You're like, just leave me alone. I don't want to be around this. I can't handle this attacking energy. You know, it really comes through as both the feminine and the masculine, I have to say, and you might be mirroring each other a little bit because we do have the Empress in reverse as well, okay? So there's something here that's been transformed, and I think it's around how you communicate. And it seems like it's working in both masculine and feminine dynamics. So in terms of like a romantic relationship, you know, you may have felt that the feminine was being very like selfish, self-centered. It's all about them and their needs and what works for them, and that they're a bit spoiled, you know, just want things handed to them. The feminine may be viewing the masculine as being extremely cold, brutal, harsh with their words, maybe even a bit narcissistic, okay? So there could be like a little mirroring energy going on here. I feel like there's been a lot of time out needed, but there's this thing about the time out maybe has become a bit of a crutch where there's too much dependency on the time out. And so there's now a need to like come out of this hermit mode, all right? And to kind of share. That's what I feel like, share what came forward in that time. And this turns things around in such a way where it helps move things more into like a lighter, freer cycle that brings some kind of victory, overcoming these challenges in the past, in particular in a relationship, I feel very strongly. Yeah, look at this. There's something that emerged in that time of spending time to yourself with the Eight of Swords in reverse. You realize that the truth sets you free, you know? It does no good to hold your truth inside, to not really communicate about what you're feeling and like leave the other person with just like this guessing game scenario, you know? That it's so important to communicate what you're feeling. This could also be, I could see this being like holding the emotions inside with the Empress in reverse, like not wanting to be in that place of the Empress. The Empress is very unguarded, you know? The Empress knows her worth, the Empress knows her value. And some of you were dealing with somebody that really made you challenge your own sense of self-worth, your own sense of value. You may have needed some time and distance from this person. You may have even cut it off very coldly, very bluntly. And you needed to do that in a way for self-preservation, so you could really come to this place of understanding what was happening there. This might have been a very activating situation, an activating connection where you were both kind of like pinging each other's real sensitive stuff, you know? So it's kind of like go to your separate corners until you can cool down, okay? I almost feel like it did get to a point though that there was so much investment in this like alone time that it started creating a little too much distance between you, okay? And there's something that's happening now where this distance is being bridged, and this brings victory. It brings like kind of like we made it, like we got through it together, okay? So there's something that's being celebrated here. Maybe you're finally seeing each other accurately. You're really understanding the other's position. You're understanding what you each bring to the table, and this is helping you, you know, get through the other side. I do feel this creative piece though for a lot of you. So I feel like where you have been working out some like challenge in a relationship, there's something really beautiful that's happening here that was created out of that, you know. It helped you really get in touch with your own internal reality. It helped you find your creative voice, and you created something from this that you're getting ready to share, and it gets you a lot of exposure, a lot of recognition, and it's really a moment of triumph for you. I also feel like you've done a lot of healing work on yourself, and things that used to bind you up, tie you up in knots, you know, keep you in this place of confusion. You started to trust your own voice more. You started to trust your own intuition more. You started to read the energy in the room and let that dictate how you move forward. And you just really having the courage to trust your own guidance, your own path, your own truth. It really is turning something around here. You no longer feel stuck. You realize like I can move forward whenever I want. I'm not trapped here, okay? So I do feel like big forward progression coming forward. You know, you might have felt stuck for a while just in terms of security, you know. Some of you may have felt I don't have what I need to be able to move forward in the way that I want to. Or you may have felt that things that you were investing in, pouring your time and energy in just weren't giving back. You weren't seeing any growth there. But it's like as soon as you decided to invest in your growth, you know, whatever that was for you. And for a lot of you, I feel like it came through first through you transforming your own behaviors, you know, looking at yourself, polishing the mirror. It also involved you really investing in yourself, giving yourself the benefit of having time to yourself to really get clear on what's happening here. I think a lot did become clear for you. You were kind of able to like cut through the BS, you know, see things as they are with the Queen of Swords here, you know, and this was you cutting through the illusion, you know, cutting through the illusion, cutting through what kept you in this place of, you know, sleepless nights, stressed out, anxiety, not knowing what to do. It's sort of like you have this cloud hanging over your head and you couldn't see your way forward to the future. But by you having the courage to cut through these illusions and do this transformational healing work, you're going to see a new way forward with this full moon. I feel like that's what's coming in for you, the vision of how you should move forward. You have a different view. You have a different perspective. And what's coming up on the horizon for you, look at this. It's beautiful. You got an Ace of Pentacles here. All right. So this is a brand new beginning for you. What gets kicked off with this full supermoon, you're going to really see it come to fruition in the spring, all right? That's when you're really going to see the full fruit of this seed you plant now. But it is a new beginning, and it's tangible. It's something you can count on. For a lot of you, this is happening in a love relationship, all right? You've been trying to make up your mind about the love relationship, where you should invest, who you should invest in. You have your answers. It's very clear. You've been weighing this out at the crossroads for a while with the Lovers, all right? You know what to do now. You've balanced this out. There's been temperance in this situation. We do see the temperance angel here. You are on the same axis as Sagittarius. Some of you could have been dealing with a Sagittarius in your equation. Again, please tune in for the Taurus read. They also had Sagittarius make an appearance. There's some truth coming forward here. Look, you got aces, okay? There's something about when you align with the truth here, this is what brings the investment. This is what brings the new beginning for you. And it's a tangible beginning. It's real. It's rooted. It will come to fruition. It's a promise, okay? And it's a promise that will bear fruit, okay? So there's some commitment is coming through here. The commitment is coming through the truth. I think it's also a commitment to live in your truth and not settle for anything less. I feel a truth is being communicated here. Somebody is wanting to commit. Somebody is wanting to invest, all right? They see the worth in this connection. They want to turn this around. This will really bear fruit. There's some significant communication that's coming through here, all right? This communication will have more to be revealed in the winter season, all right, with that Ace of Swords. And then you'll really see the fulfillment of the commitment that's made, whatever's coming through in communication at this time. I mean, we got Aquarius at the forefront, all right? So you could be dealing with an Aquarius too. You could also be dealing with a Libra, all right? Air sign, collective, front and center. You've come out a few times in your read, so I also believe it's your energy and it's really what you're grappling with right now. You're grappling with the truth. You're grappling with communicating the truth. It's about you really representing yourself. Maybe you feel like you let yourself be devalued in this situation. Maybe you feel like, you know, you focus too much on the other person's growth, the other person's fulfillment for too long, what they wanted. And now you're sort of like straightening your crown. I feel like you're really looking at what you want to invest in, where you want to see growth, what would give you happiness. And so there's something that's being balanced out here. But I think one thing's for sure, you're not going to be in a dynamic anymore where you feel like you have to compromise your own sense of self-worth and value in order to just keep the peace. That's not happening. I feel like you're really coming into your fire. You're bringing your fire forward. Again, you might be dealing with an Aries, Leo, Sagittarius with this fire sign energy here. You might have a strong fire sign placement in your chart, but this is you really claiming your independence in this regard. Like, I have passions too. I have desires too. You're not the only one here. I also want happiness with the sun. And there's some things I will not compromise with the Seven of Wands. And I'm going to stand on it. And I'm going to represent it. And I know my worth and I know what I'm worth. All right? And I will fight for my happiness, you know, even if I have to stand alone. This coming through very strongly. And again, you could be dealing with a Sagittarius. This is a quintessential Sagittarius card here with Temperance. But we know that there's something that's being balanced out between two people here. We got two cups pouring into one another, all right? You got 1 foot on the land and you got 1 foot in the water. This gives you a clue. It's about not forgetting the lessons that you learned, right? It's about really standing on that and not losing, you know, practicality in this matter. You have to look at things realistically. You have to understand the foundations, the history of your situation. You can't ignore that. But there's also a need to keep, you know, 1 foot in the water. You can't just like look at everything so practically, so logically. You can't lose the heart in this situation, all right? That's the tempering quality. It's balancing that, you know, the opposites. And water nurtures the earth so things can grow. So maybe that's a key about what's really been missing in this situation is the heart, like really connecting on an emotional level, maybe revealing more of the emotions, allowing the vulnerability and the expression of that vulnerability to come forward. It waters the earth. It allows things to grow. It allows things to come to fruition. And we do see here, there is some kind of important communication coming forward with the Knight of Swords. And I feel it is this. I feel it is the walls coming down. It's the willingness to express, you know, the love. Knight of Swords coming in can be a declaration of love. You know, somebody's held in their emotions, their feelings for so long. Maybe they were looking at things from a very logical standpoint. Maybe they didn't want to be vulnerable. I mean, it is your energy. Maybe you didn't want to be vulnerable. You had trust issues. You felt you'd been worked. You felt you'd been manipulated. You felt you'd been taken advantage of before. And so this is what was causing some gridlock. But some way, somehow, communication's coming forward here. There is the risk to be vulnerable, to express truth clearly without blocking the expression that wants to come through out of self-preservation. Instead, you're like, forget it. You know, I don't have a problem speaking my truth. I'm going to come up and out with my truth. I'm going to speak it clearly. And it's the very thing that gets things moving forward. Now we have productivity. Look at this. We got the Three of Pentacles. This is working together to see through something to the other side. We got something we can work with now. Now we're cooking, okay? And with that comes the Three of Wands. We know there's a moving forward now. The ships are coming in. So this is beautiful energy. There is a way through. And it involves, you know, you not compromising your truth, not compromising your worth, your value, understanding that your desires are important too. And if we're going to work together, like that has to count for something. It can't just be all about you, what satisfies you, what you want. I'm here too. And if we're going to work together, you know, we both have to feel fulfilled in this connection. So I feel there's something really constructive happening here in terms of a romantic relationship. I also feel like you're really moving forward in your work. And it's the same dynamic that's playing out in your work. It's like you're no longer content to just do work that, like, you know, pays the bills. There's also a piece where I want to do work that really fulfills me, where my heart's in it, you know, where I feel emotionally connected to the work that I'm doing. And I feel like you're starting to really stand up for this. You know, maybe you're looking at heading in a more creative direction. Maybe you've had a creative pursuit that's been more kind of like a sideline gig. And now you're looking to take that sideline gig and you want to move it to the forefront. You know, you might deal with some opposition in this regard. You might have some people around you who do things in the very traditional way. They tell you it's too much of a gamble, it's too much of a risk, you can't head into this direction, it won't be able to pay the bills. And in cases where you were dealing with a partner where you felt like maybe they were a little spoiled, where they wanted to be catered to, they wanted to be just, you know, handed certain luxuries, certain privileges, you know, they may be giving you some pushback on this because they're afraid of how it might compromise their lifestyle, right? This may have been a bone of contention in the past, and it may have been sort of a sabotaging influence with the Page of Swords, you know? You both may have been kind of like more invested in, you know, what works out for you individually with the Page of Swords, rather than looking at what's good for the relationship. And this may have been the very thing that caused issues in the past. Now, with the Three of Cups spilled, sometimes this can be the influence of a third-party dynamic. Is that third-party dynamic always another lover? No. Can it be? Yes. In cases where that came into play, it could be that somebody may have reconnected with a lover from the past, and this was like a divisive element. There might have been some kind of secret behind-the-scenes communication going on with this person, and that's what was causing the disruption in your relationship. You may have felt like you had a lot of competition in terms of your lover. You may have had a lot of people kind of come in to quest for your lover. And you're like, hold up, wait a minute. What's going on here, okay? Oof. It's supposed to be just the two of us. This is what you promised. Why am I dealing with all this, you know, all these problems related to this third-party interference? That's not what I wanted. And some of you may have agreed to be part of a third-party dynamic. You may have agreed to be part of a polyamorous setup because you didn't want to lose your person. You wanted to make your person happy, and maybe this is what they wanted, you know? Maybe they felt unsatisfied in the connection in some way. Maybe they wanted to have the freedom to kind of like explore sexually with other people. Maybe you agreed to this because you wanted to keep the connection alive, but maybe you were realizing what heartache. This was causing disappointment. Maybe you know, no, my truth is I just really want to align with one person, you know? And so there's something that's being transformed here. For others of you, the third party was like somebody had an issue with drinking, somebody had an issue with some kind of addiction. This was causing problems. It was causing interference in the connection. So there was always this other element in play between you that was clouding things. You know, if there's some kind of addictive element in play, it can create a lot of codependency in a relationship. This can cause a lot of problems, especially if there isn't open communication about this, like I'm struggling with an addiction, I need to get some help. You know, the Page of Swords can represent that kind of sabotaging influence, something that's hiding, it's kept in secret, and there's a misunderstanding. Why are we having problems connecting? Why are we having problems communicating? Well, there's an addiction in play here, and that's what's running the show. This could also be any kind of third-party interference. It could be a meddling parent. It could be a meddling friend. It can be anything that is distracting, taking time, focus, energy away from the connection, and is actually being used as a way to disassociate from the problems in this connection. All right. But we see that somebody is getting help here with the Six of Pentacles. Somebody's asking for help. Somebody's asking for forgiveness. All right. Somebody's wanting to get things on an even keel. They're not wanting these power dynamics anymore. They're not wanting this codependency. They don't want it to be where one person always feels like they have to be compromised, you know, and be beholden, you know, being in a submissive position to this person while one person holds all the reins in the situation. We do see the scales in this person's hand. Libra did come in a bit. You may feel like Libras have more say in the connection. You may have felt like your voice didn't matter, okay? I'm just bringing in all of the pieces, all the ways that this can manifest. And again, you could have also been dealing with an earth sign energy, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn coming in. Taurus very strongly with that bull energy there. Do look at the Taurus reading. I do feel like there's a connecting point. Just the fact that you're both coming in on the full moon. For your reads today, there might be something really significant there to look at, okay? Even if you're not dealing with a Taurus, there still might be a message there for you. I encourage you to check out that read. But I do feel like, you know, maybe this person's just all about the money. They're all about what they can get. They want the luxuries, you know. That's what their mind is focused on. This could be somebody who's a workaholic. Mind on their money, money on their mind. They can't think about anything else. They may have been working really long hours. One of the things that might have been causing a little disruption in the relationship could be that somebody was really focused on their work, really investing on their work, in their work, really wanting to establish a strong foundation. This may have made somebody feel insecure in this situation. They may have thought somebody was cheating because they were spending so much time, you know, at the office, so much time invested in the work, trying to set up a stable foundation, that this ended up being like a bone of contention. It started to see doubt in the connection. It caused problems. It caused division. Now, this may be because somebody had their intuition really firing off with the Queen of Cups, you know, just being like, where's the love? Why are you all business with me? You know, why aren't we connecting on a heart level? And you could have felt like an intuitive nudge around this. This could also be deal with a Cancer, Pisces, Scorpio, okay? We did have wand energy come up, Queen of Wands. Sometimes that can represent the other person. We had Empress in reverse. You could be dealing with somebody that is on the Cancer, Leo cusp. This could be somebody who's a baby mama that's still connected to the situation that maybe was causing some problems, okay? Causing some disruption in the connection. Could have been causing some fights. All right, with the Five of Wands, there's been some drama. It's been messy. There's been too many people up in your business, too many dissenting opinions, you know, dissension opinions. I can't even say that right. Maybe you haven't even known how to communicate what's been going on because everybody's just on such a different page and it just feels like a big mess, okay? It could be a family dynamic is really in an uproar in this situation. Nobody can get on the same page. But I feel like, you know, you're in this energy very strongly, okay? And it's interesting because this energy came up for Taurus too. So you might have a strong Taurus placement in your chart. But this Nine of Pentacles is really about taking all that time, energy, focus, and you've been pouring it into yourself. I also feel it's speaking very strongly of the Taurus North Node, which we just moved out of, with this now moving into the Aries North Node energy. So I feel like you did come to that place where you rose up into the Taurus North Node. You understood your worth. You understood your value. And you're standing on it, all right? And you look good. You're sitting pretty here. You're in a really good spot. You chose growth, so you don't want to sacrifice that. And I feel like there is movement happening here, okay? There is communication happening here. And look at you. There you are, Queen of Pentacles. I feel like this is you. You're really in this position. You know your worth. You know your value. You're sitting on it. You're on your throne. You got your crown straight, and you very well could be dealing with this fire sign energy, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. We also have earth sign energy very strongly factored here as well. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Okay, any of these signs could be in play in your situation. You'll know what role they're playing. You could be dealing with somebody that also has fire and earth strongly aspected in their chart, or fire and water strongly aspected in their chart. Pisces potentially, or Cancer, okay? And you've had intuition about this person. You felt there's been something secretive here that you haven't quite trusted. You've been like, I don't know, something just feels a little suspect. You feel like there's secrets. You do. You know, you feel like you don't have all the information, and maybe this is what you're opening up communication around, okay, with those Eight of Wands coming in. Do look for, over the next couple of months, like a lot moving, a lot shifting in this situation. It's not going to be held up anymore. In fact, there's going to be kind of like rapid advancement. There's going to be a lot of communication, a lot going on in the love department too, like where things have been stagnant, kind of held back in love. Love's moving forward. There's may even be travel in association with this, okay? And a lot of you are dealing with a situation that has its roots in the past, and you're transforming this, all right? And this is a Leo indicator here too. So I feel like Leo season is very important to you. But there's also something that you potentially have been balancing out with the baby's mama, who could have a strong Leo placement in the chart, Cancer placement in the chart, Pisces placement, could be a Cancer, Leo cusper, okay? This person may have been combative, and this person may have been kind of difficult to deal with, or they may have brought some drama along with them. But I think you understand that whatever drama was brought forward, it was coming from a place of this person actually feeling very wounded, very vulnerable. This could be an ex-wife, all right? Coming through here with the Hierophant. Taurus energy again, okay? You got a lot of Taurus energy in your read. I'd be surprised if you're not dealing with somebody that has Taurus strongly aspected in their chart. I really would be. But I feel like something is being balanced out here. It takes a lot of strength on your part. It might take a lot of grace on your part to kind of like rise above the provocations of this person. Okay? But I feel like you are doing this. You are approaching this in a very balanced way, and you are tempering this with compassion. You understand that the reason why this person's been so difficult is because they're feeling wounded, and there's some like emotional vulnerability here. But you're overcoming it, and you're going to get to the other side of this with the Judgment here, all right? This is really good energy. It is something from the past, though, that's coming back around to close a karmic cycle, for this to be healed, everything to be aired out, right? And I feel like you're getting to the other side of it. I do feel like you've exercised wise judgment in this situation, judgment in your favor. Also, this is going to turn out well for you with the Hierophant coming in here too. Like, Spirit's on your side. This is big. Like, we saw what went down back there, okay? We got your back, all right? Those who need to be held accountable will be held accountable, and what needs to be righted will be righted, all right? So I think you're going to find that you did have like a little bit of an inside clue, even though you didn't have all the facts. I feel like you're getting the facts. What's coming forward confirms your intuition. There's something that's worked out here, and there is a way to move forward in this situation, okay? And I feel like something's being worked out here. I also feel like abundance is coming in. You're still staying focused on your work, because no matter what happened back here in terms of the relationship, one thing that you really did gain out of this cycle is that it did throw you back on yourself more. So you had to invest in your own, your own path and what you could create for yourself. And through this, something really came forward in your work, and it's lit a fire under your butt. And I feel like it has something to do with heading in a new direction with your work, where your work is more meaningful for you. You have more of a creative angle to your work. Maybe you're taking a side gig. You're making it more of a permanent fixture in your life. You're pushing it to the front of your focus. And maybe what you used to do that was kind of like your bread and butter for work, that's more becoming the side gig as you invest more in this creative direction or in a business of your own, something that really inspires you. It's a brand new cycle for you with the Fool, all right? You're heading in a brand new direction. You're taking the wisdom that you gained in the past with you. You're not going to forget the lessons you learned, but you can't help it. You feel very optimistic right now, and you want to enjoy it. You want to enjoy more of the pleasures in life. It's been enough of the grind. It's been enough of the stress. It's been enough of the drama, enough of the arguments. Like, you're ready for some fun. Some of you are going on a trip, and you're really looking forward to this. You're looking forward to just like getting out there in the world, having some fun, enjoying some pleasure, kicking up your heels a little bit. And I feel like you're very much in a position of power, okay, with the Ace of Wands. In fact, whatever gears up during this lunar cycle, by the time fall comes, you're taking a really strong action. Like, you know exactly where you're going. You know exactly what you're doing. You're lit up. You're owning your fire. And I feel like this is a real passionate new beginning for you. Some of you are leaving something behind that no longer works for you. You're closing out cycle on it. You're saying, I'm done with this. I'm ready to end it. I'm ready to close this with the Death to the Ten of Swords to the Eight of Cups. You're choosing to follow your heart. You're heading off in a new direction. You may have some karmic closure, okay, in this situation. You may be wrapping up an old cycle. You may be communicating a truth. You're clearing the air. You want to build a bridge and get over those troubled waters. You want to do this cleanly. You don't want to have anything kind of like holding you back from stepping into your new cycle. You do have a new beginning in love here, all right? You got some love that's pouring into you, and what is pouring into you from spirit, it's going to nurture you, and it's going to grow your garden of earthly delight, all right? There's going to be so much growth that comes from this. You have all of the aces. You got all of the aces. You got the Ace of Pentacles. You got the Ace of Swords. You got the Ace of Cups. You got the Ace of Wands. I feel like you're stepping into that big Emperor, big Empress energy, and you are charting your own course, okay? A lot of you are ending cycle, and you're choosing to walk away from something that your heart's just no longer in, all right? For some of you, that's happening in terms of your work. You're like, okay, I've done the traditional route long enough. I'm really ready to fuel my passions. I want to do work that I really feel invested in, that lights me up. You do this, it leads you where you need to be. You're not willing to waste your time anymore. You feel like the more you invest your time, energy in what doesn't bring you fulfillment, you're wasting time. You don't want to have your time stolen from you anymore. You want to invest your time and energy where it counts. You're moving into calmer waters. If you choose to do this in terms of your career, I'm telling you, look at this. 10 of Pentacles. This is the ultimate success. You really have something successful here. This launches you up into your North Node of Destiny. 44 on the clock when I said that. It is a building block for your future, okay? In terms of a relationship, you're like, okay, yeah, that was real, that was fun, but, I know that you're a cheat. I know that, it's always going to be about what works for you. You can't really consider what works for me. And it's all good. We're having this clearing out communication, but I'm not content, to divide my energy with another on the side. I'm just not. And I want something more. I really want like a heart-centered connection. I want a spiritual connection. And so you're choosing to walk away, from somebody who just can't be faithful. They don't want to be faithful, and you're choosing to move forward toward what you really want in terms of a romantic relationship. You're choosing to invest in yourself. And along the way, Spirit brings you a brand new beginning. Spirit pours into you and brings you somebody who can meet you in that place, okay? It's a beautiful new beginning, and also somebody who can build with you. It's a brand new beginning. Comes in with the Magician, all right? That's that Aries energy, that Aries North Node energy. It's also you raising up that wand in the fall, taking a new action. I feel like that comes in the fall in terms of the love relationship. It's wish fulfillment. And for some of you, it's a transformation of the energy. You worked with this person who maybe they did, you know, have eyes for another. Maybe there was a third party in your situation. It could be an addiction. It could have been a lover on the side. Each of you has your own story in that, okay? But you worked through it together, through first like kind of going to your own corners, really getting to know yourselves, getting really rooted in your own truth. And through this, you're able to heal this relationship. And this relationship gets a second wind. You never saw this happening. Ted just said, woo. So I think that's very true for some of you who have really been willing to do the work. And for some of you, that had everything to do with transforming an addiction or an addictive-based behavior, which I feel is codependency. Maybe you both have a history of addiction. Maybe you come from families where there was addiction, you know, and you grew up in kind of codependent environments. And so this got carried over in your relationship. This is what was burdening the relationship, you know, with the Ten of Wands, keeping you in the dark here. But with the Page of Pentacles here, you both learned, right? You both invested in your growth. You know, some of you went and got support. You transformed these behaviors, and it brings a successful completion of the cycle. And I love it because now we got the Emperor energy here. All right. So this is like a transformation and a leveling up and a rising into the destiny. You're rising up into your destiny. Something's being transformed here. It plays out a little differently for each of you. Again, you may have been dealing with a fixed sign energy. We got Leo here. We got Taurus here. We got Aquarius here. We got Scorpio here. And there's victory in this. There's the successful completion of an old cycle. And then it's like, now we get to step into a whole new world. You know, it's a beautiful energy coming forward for you all. So I think I want to get an overarching theme card for you. And I'm going to pull out the Halloween Oracle because it seems like fall is going to be a really important time for you, a culmination point when you take a really like bold action in the fall. But it's something that kicks off now. Like this full moon is bringing in this energy for you right now. It's lighting something up. I do feel like things start moving forward, okay? And there's messages around this. There's communication around this. There's a new perspective. There's coming out of this kind of like hermit mode to actually interacting with life again, being more engaged with life again, being more engaged with somebody that you had challenges with. This is somebody that you have a past connection with, okay? Or you've been connected for a long time. This feels like a soulmate, right? The roots run deep on this one, but there is like a second wind, okay? Something is being healed and transformed here. Just as I said that, we see cauldron, synergy, and healing, all right? So you're working something out here. Now you're cooking, all right? This is transformation. It's beautiful. And you could be dealing with a witch. Some of you have actually been doing some work around this. You know, you've been doing your alchemy work. We got the witch, the earthly weaver of the world. So you're definitely at the height of your manifestation power. So wherever you're feeling inspired, you might even want to do a little moon magic tonight. Just kind of like call in some blessings for lighting the new way forward for you. But we do know that you have the ability to transform anything that's been holding you back. And so that's a beautiful message. There's some kind of healing happening here, some kind of renewal, a lot of creativity at the forefront. I got Goddess Breed. For those of you who do work with, you know, ritual, you might want to connect with Goddess Breed. She is the goddess of creativity. You'll hear people refer to her as Bridget, but it's pronounced Breed. It's pronounced Breed, but that's who I'm talking about. Okay, so you might want to really invoke the energy of that goddess. There might be something to learn there. She does illuminate things. She helps you get in touch with your creative energy. I do feel like a lot of you are bringing creativity to the forefront in the work that you're doing. It's a new direction for you, and there's something new being birthed in you. And it comes from what you've integrated, your healing process. It's really beautiful. It's going to get you intention too. And I actually feel like it's going to give you a lot of financial growth and stability. So really beautiful. It's something you leave behind with this. Woo! We got a lot come out here for you with your all. Okay, so it may have felt like this thing was just like cutting it down to the wire, but you're going to find a way through at the last moment. We have Apple, risk, and reward. All right, so there's also like the piece about temptation here. Some of you may be, you know, wondering, should I take this risk? You know, you might feel very tempted to take a risk. It may be getting to that 11th hour where it's like, okay, you gotta, it's time for action. Is we're back. It said having trouble connecting, and I fell off there, and I think that is so significant. All right, you're trying to make up your mind about something, and there's blocking energy around this. So, you know, you might be trying to block what your intuition's telling you, where your heart is calling you to go. You know, there might be something around this that you need to look at. But I think there's somebody here, they feel like you're eternal love, you know? This is the person that you see yourself growing old with. You feel a deep connection with this person, you know? This is about getting out of pride and being willing to take the risk, you know, in the name of love. There's something here about really like doing what your soul is guiding you to do at this time. It says love is love is love, and it transcends physical death. Okay. Some of you, you know, you've had a really intense ending in a love relationship. Some of you may have dealt with somebody that passed on, you know, and you're still in grief. You haven't recovered from this. You got to be sensitive to that. You got to give yourself time to process this loss. Some of you, it was an ending in a love relationship that just cut you to the quick. It felt like a physical death to you. And there's a need for you to really hold space around that, you know, respectful space around that, and let yourself grieve that loss. But what's really interesting is that we got protection here for you to guide you through any of these challenges where you're going through a release process, especially in terms of a relationship that was very dear to you. You know, it can be hard to trust what your heart's telling you and to go your own way, especially when you really saw your future panning out a certain way. But we have here winter, the sacredness of pausing. And so there's this moment here, you know, when we're looking at midnight, right? The most magical hour of all, where we're weighing out risk versus reward. And the temptation we have to really follow what that wild part of us is telling us, you know, the part that wants something more, you know. This is the most important time, right before you step into that magical hour where it all transforms. It very much makes me think North Node energy. I feel like you're aligning with your destiny, okay? And it might be a little fierce, you know, it might really require you have some courage to follow where your heart is leading you. But it's only you who can decide if the risk is worth the reward. And so you might want to just take a moment to just have this pause, you know, just kind of steady yourself before you step through. It feels like an initiatory doorway in matters of how your future unfolds from this point forward. And I think for you, it's playing out on the level of love, who you're aligning with, what love means to you when you come into that place of intimacy with another. But I also feel it has to do with how you want to move forward in your life in terms of your career. It's like there's this desire to step into authenticity of who you are now that you've been through this incredible growth process, and you're protected along the way with the jack-o'-lantern despite your fears. And I feel like something will come through for you once we hit Samhain, once we hit Halloween. You're going to really realize that your life has been transformed and that you have been watched over. And though you were afraid, you got through that difficult cycle. And there's something on the other side of it for you, and it's worth it. But one thing's for certain, you're not going to live bound up anymore. You're not going to live in that Eight of Swords energy where you feel like you don't have the power to change your life and you just have to make do. And it doesn't matter how long you've been in a connection or you've been working a particular job or on a particular path. It's become uncomfortable. You can't stay in this place. And so I do see you making a change and setting yourself free to follow the direction of your heart. And it's going to bring you a lot of fulfillment. Trust yourself. You're ready for this leap.